Hello, in this video let's continue looking at how to simplify expressions and how to combine like terms. We have discussed that the like terms can only differ by the numbers in the front. The numbers in the front are called coefficients, and we have discussed that to simplify we often follow the order of operations, which we can abbreviate as PEMDAS, P-E-M-D-A-S, which stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction. And we can do multiplication and division in the same order. We can do addition and subtraction in the same order. And in the previous video, we looked at how to do addition and subtraction. Now in this video, and so here were the examples that we have considered, the first 4 examples. Now let's focus on the multiplication part of the order of operations. When we do the division, we will first discuss fractions, but first let's just look at multiplication. So the next 3 examples have to do with multiplication. So here is first example, second example, and then below is the third. So let's look at the first. Multiplication. So when we do the simplification, again, we started at the top and we look at, are there any parentheses? In our example, there was no parentheses. Exponents, no. Multiplication. So multiplication is between the numbers and parentheses. This is the multiplication. So what is 3 times the quantity x plus 1? How do we multiply? Well, we multiply 3 times the first term, which is 3 times x makes 3x, and then 3 times 1 makes 3. The rest of the question is the same, so we can continue copying it over, make sure that the minus stays minus, not like I just did, and so that would be minus 5x plus 2. Let's zoom in a bit. Come on, zoom in. So now we combine like terms. We have finished multiplication, there is no division. 3x minus 5x are like terms. 3 minus 5 will make negative 2x, and plus 3 plus 2 makes plus 5. So this is our answer to example number 5. Next, we have example with exponents. Now this x is already squared, there is nothing to do. But this x minus 1 squared, that means that we have x minus 1 twice. And there is a formula for how to multiply, how to square. This is called a perfect square. So there is a formula for how to work with perfect squares. We can also just do multiplication. Now, if we'll notice at this example, we have two things. We have a multiplication and we have exponents. Following our order of operations, here's our order of operations. We do exponents before we do multiplication. And that's a very important point. So all of the exponents have to be cleared before we get to multiplication. So in our example number 6, this squaring has to be done before we multiply by 3. Now let's actually change this exponent into the multiplication so we can do that a little bit easier. So we have 3, and then we will write x minus 1 squared as x minus 1 twice, because that's what the square means. The rest of the question is the same. Now let's multiply out. So here we have 3, and then we start with the first term, and we multiply this x by both x and the minus 1. X times x makes x squared. X times negative 1 makes negative x. That finishes the first term. Now we move to the next term, negative 1. Now negative 1 times both of these terms. Negative 1 times x is first, negative 1 times x is negative x, and then negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. The rest of the question is the same. Now we have finished the square, so we no longer have any exponents that we can perform. At this point, we now can go to the multiplication. So now we're multiplying through by 3. 3 times x squared makes 3x squared. 3 times negative x is negative 3x. 3 times negative x is negative 3x. And then 3 times positive 1 is positive 3. The rest of the question is the same. Minus x minus 3. Now we are ready to combine like terms. We are finished with multiplication, we're finished with exponents. We're looking for the same terms to combine. The x squared with x squared, these are like terms, so we can combine those. 3 plus 1 will make 4x to the 2. Now the x's by themselves with the x's, minus 3 minus 3x minus 3x makes minus 6. Minus 1 more makes minus 7x. Finally, the numbers. Plus 3 minus 3 cancels off and there is no numbers left. So our final answer to example number 6 is 4x squared minus 7. And now the last example. In this example we have multiplication, we have parentheses, we have multiplication, we have exponents. But inside these parentheses there is nothing we can do. Because x plus 1, these are not like terms, so we can't add them. Also in these parentheses there is nothing we can do. We cannot square the x because we don't know what it is. And we can't combine these terms because we also don't know what the x's are. So there is nothing we can do inside each of the parentheses. We cannot do the exponents. The only thing left to do is, the next thing to do is multiplication. So we will be multiplying the first two terms by the last three. And the way we do it is exactly the same we did in the previous example. We start with the first term and we're multiplying this x by every term in this second set of parentheses. So x times x squared will be x cubed. X times negative 2x will become negative 2x squared. X times plus 1 will be just regular x. And that finishes the first term. Now we move to the plus 1 and we're multiplying 1 by every term in the second set of parentheses. So 1 times x squared is x squared. Multiplying anything by 1 doesn't change it, so we will get x squared minus 2x plus 1 again. Minus 2x plus 1. Now we're done with multiplication, we're combining like terms. So anything that has the same letters with the same exponents would be like terms. X cubed is by itself, there is no other x cubed. So that stays just as it is. Now we have minus 2x squared plus 1x squared. Minus 2 plus 1 is minus 1x squared. Now we have plus x minus 2x. They both have the same term, the same letter with the same power, so these are like terms. Plus x plus 1 minus 2 is minus 1x. And then there is a number by itself, 1, so that stays 1. And that's the final answer to example number 7. And with this, we have looked at how to use the order of operations to do the addition and subtraction and how to do multiplication. In the other videos, we will look at the division, and the first thing we will do is we will look at fractions, and then we will add letters to it, and we will work with those as well. If you have any questions or would like to see other examples, please let me know. Thank you for your time. Take care.